When you first start getting interested in intuition, it's kind of like it opens the doors to other things and other modalities. And sometimes maybe you just start with energy healing and then it opens your intuition and all the things. One of the areas that I see a lot of people get really excited about crystals. I mean, who doesn't love them, right? When I was young, I used to have a rock collection. That's what I would call it. And I would intuitively pick up on things that I would just tell my mom. And she's like, "How do you know that?" I just do. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my best way to choose the right crystal for you that will help enhance your intuition. So stay tuned. Welcome to Spiritual and Ambitious. I'm your host, Whitney McNeill. I'm a certified medium and spiritual teacher, and I help spiritual and ambitious souls just like you live your life purpose through your career and attract abundance by connecting into your intuition and spirit guides. Let's get spiritual and ambitious. Before we get started, I like to share some spirit messages from my Messenger of Spirit Oracle deck. And the first card I have here is your higher self. Your life purpose is calling. Absolutely. One of the big ways that we can stay attuned to our life purpose or stay on our path in quotations is to stay in alignment, which means you've got to be consistent. And when you're consistent with raising your vibration and you are supporting your energy towards your aligned path, then your life purpose just kind of clicks right in. Now, that doesn't mean it stays that way forever because there's pivots and changes. And that's why I have my Aligned Spiritual Mentorship program, which I'm actually opening up here today for the first time in years to people who have never worked with me before. So check the show notes or go to messengerofspirit.com/aligned to apply and learn more. And the next card is pause. Take time to reflect and integrate. That's really important. Right now, we have a little bit around a month left of the year. And whether you really use the actual calendar year as a gauge of a cycle or not, it's just a good time to take a pause. I know I'm going to be doing that soon. I am really feeling the call to do it. So I'm pretty sure this is a message for me too. So what are crystals? Well, crystals are wonderful, shiny, beautiful objects that you see in these metaphysical stores. And then you probably walk into the store and feel very ungrounded. But they're formed through various ways and means of the earth. Some are lab created and they're piezoelectric. Did I say that right? I don't know. But what I mean is they contain energy. And so scientists will actually use them in watches and machines and things like that. So like quartz, topaz, and other crystals, they produce an electric charge when stress is applied to them. The reason I'm bringing this up is because once you know that, it's a little bit easier to grasp the concept. They can also help in energy healing sessions. So when I used to do Reiki sessions in person, I would actually choose intuitively a crystal that worked for my client, and I would place this crystal on top of them during the Reiki session. And I would send Reiki to their chakra through the crystal. I remember one client was very kind of skeptical about all this stuff, and she felt pretty blocked. And I felt so called to work on her third eye over and over again. And I took a piece of selenite and channeled Reiki through the selenite to her third eye. And all of a sudden, she did this big kick in her leg. And she kind of jerked. And she's like, "What was that?" I said, "I know that you're new to this, but your chakra just really opened up." So crystals can be very helpful. But today we're more so talking about how to choose the right crystal for you to enhance your intuition. Now, every single person is different, meaning every single person is going to need a different crystal. I will use certain crystals that work for me in my energy and where my vibration is in that moment and my chemistry and how all that works. But you know what? 2 years from now, I might need a different crystal, and you might need a completely different crystal than I use for myself. And that's why I always say I chose different crystals for different clients. So I'm going to give you a quick guideline of how you can use it logically and then how to use your intuition. So if you're someone who says, you know what, Whitney, I haven't developed my intuition, I haven't taken your program, I just kind of want a general logical guideline, then first decide, do you want to enhance your gut feelings and knowings, or do you want to enhance your clairaudience and clairvoyance? And once you've chosen what your goal is, it will be different depending on the crystal. So if you want to develop your clairaudience or clairvoyance, and generally speaking, you're going to want to choose a blue crystal, like an indigo blue. If you want to develop your gut feelings and gut knowings to be much more stronger than they are, then generally speaking, you're going to want a yellow crystal. So you'll see that sometimes people have chakra bags pre-made. And one of the go-to crystals to help you with your clairvoyance and clairaudience is sodalite. Sometimes people use amethyst, which most of the time is a little bit, I think, too purple for the third eye. Lapis lazuli is one that can be really helpful. And my personal favorite for me is azurite. Azurite is one of the stones that you're not really supposed to touch with your bare hands. So before you dive into crystals, if you're brand new, make sure you start familiarizing yourself with the whatnots and the what to-dos. And then selenite can be really good too, but it's not a blue crystal. It's a white crystal. And I'm going to tell you a story a little later about another crystal that works for me that has nothing to do with the blue color. Now, if you are someone who wants to develop the empathic qualities and the channeler qualities, then you might want to try a topaz. You might want to try a citrine. Citrine's really common. Sometimes a pyrite might work, and some people really like to use amber for that part of their energy. I have a friend who likes to use sunstone, and that just seems to work best for her with her third chakra. And when I first moved to Sedona and we really got into the crystal business, I used to have a store in West Sedona where we did sessions, appointments, and sold crystals. I started to learn about Heliodor, and Heliodor is just a real powerful stone, but to me, it felt super masculine. So you really need to pay attention of what works for you, but that's a general guideline. However, the reason why I'm talking about your intuition and how to choose a crystal through intuition is because one of those crystals that really helps my third eye is an orange color. And chakras have such a correlation to one another. So for me, apparently, there's some sort of connection with my sacral and my third eye that I needed in that moment. And the crystal is vanadinite. Some people say it differently, but that's what I was told when I purchased my crystals from the wholesaler, vanadinite. It is not a typical crystal for intuition, so it's probably not going to work for you. But the reason I bring it up is because I want to make sure that you know sometimes you're going to get a random crystal that you don't even think would possibly work. And it can be because you have a different connection with a chakra, but sometimes people's chakras are very different. When I used to teach Reiki in person, if you're a spiritual and ambitious soul who wants to live your life purpose through your career and is looking for a way to stay aligned to your intuition, your spirit guides, your life purpose, and your manifesting abilities for abundance, then I want you to listen in. I would love to invite you to apply for my Aligned Spiritual Mentorship Program. Aligned is for the committed, spiritual, and ambitious soul who wants to elevate their intuition, their connection to their guides, and truly make a change in this world by living their purpose, all while attracting more abundance. The members inside of this mentorship are ready to go to their next level. And they know that they have to be consistent in receiving support and honing their intuitive abilities. If you're looking for mentorship, coaching, and tools to stay aligned on a consistent basis, I'd love for you to apply. Each month, I get to channel messages, work with members inside of my hot seat coaching sessions to help them move past their blocks, answer their questions, and we have a spirit surprise. We've had guest experts about all different spiritual topics with live sessions, workshops with me, training, and even surprise readings. I like to say that Aligned is like a spiritual buffet. We give you all these tools and resources, and you get to consume what you're spiritually hungry for. One of my favorite components of Aligned is the support. When you're in a virtual room with other people who are seriously committed to their path and their purpose, it changes the game. Not only does it help you elevate your vibration, but we can collectively manifest together. You can learn more and apply at messengerspirit.com/aligned. I remember my first Reiki class I ever taught, I had a student that said, why is it that when I tune into this person's energy clairvoyantly, I see her third eye being very violet and deep purple more so than indigo? And this would be a great example of why amethyst might work for this person. And the answer was sometimes there could be another chakra that's just really, really overactive, kind of bleeding into it. There can be another reason that this student was interpreting the color very differently, and that's her symbol. And then guess what? Chakras are different. So sometimes that is just the way it is. So let's talk about steps to really hone in and try to find the crystal that's going to work best for your intuition. So the best way to choose a crystal is intuitively. And in the world that we live in, there are crystals online and there are crystals in person. My preferred way to choose a crystal is in person. However, I have purchased crystals online and it's been just fine. So, first and foremost, I want you to take a few moments and just ask what color your crystal is that will help enhance your intuition. And you can close your eyes and see what comes through. Maybe it comes through clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, or clear knowing. And just see what pops into your mind. Maybe you hear it, you see it, you feel it, or it just pops into your mind and it's just a knowing. Then the next question that I always ask, where can I find this? Where am I being led to? And you might get a place, an actual location, an actual store, or place online. Maybe you feel like you need to reach out to somebody to ask them. So that gives you some clues about where to find your crystal. And then if your crystal is important and you have options to choose from, then the best way I feel is to take a crystal in your left hand and just ask, will you work with me to enhance my intuition? And you'll feel, see, hear, or know a yes or a no. And you want to be really specific when you ask those questions. If you're purchasing a crystal online, most of the time you're going to see options and you would ask the same question. Now, if you're guided to talk to somebody who sells crystals online or you don't necessarily have that choice, then you're just simply going to ask to be guided to the right crystal. And that is a simple process of how to choose the right crystal to enhance your intuition. Now, there are other things to do with the crystal once you get it. I have a crystals course that you can get as a bonus when you enroll in 4 intuitive languages. And I will put that in the show notes. But I'm thinking about offering the crystals course on its own. So check the show notes to see what we have available at this time. But you can get this crystals course as a bonus if you make the decision today to develop your intuition with me inside of 4 intuitive languages. Again, check the show notes and all those details will be right there. So let's just jump to how do I use it? And I'll give you some general guidelines. You will place this crystal after you've cleansed it and charged it and have prepared it on your third eye. That's an option. And so when you are laying down, you can put it right on your third eye and ask for the energy to flow through you. If you're Reiki attuned, you could put your hands over the crystal and ask Reiki to flow through the crystal to you. You could also just allow for spiritual healing to happen and just meditate with this crystal. Minimum amount, I'd say 5 minutes. Now, if you're somebody who wants to open your third eye, you can also place this crystal under your pillow, but I say this with a warning. If you do that, you might not get great sleep. So I wouldn't make this a practice that you do over and over again. This could kind of make your third eye a little bit overactive. Now, if your crystal is really large and doesn't feel good on your skin, maybe you got a raw cut crystal instead of a tumbled stone, then you could always put it under your bed, put it right next to your head, that kind of thing. I always say if you're going to work with crystals to help open your chakras, it's most of the time better to get a polished, small, tumbled stone so that it's easier to work with and you can place it on your body if it is a crystal that you can actually place on your skin. Sometimes there are crystals that you can't place on your skin. And so what you would need is to put a tissue between you and that crystal. Now, another way that you can work with your intuition is wear it as a necklace, especially if you're doing readings or you want to heighten your intuition. A lot of places sell gem cages. They are super inexpensive. You just take this gem cage, they stretch, expand, and open. You can put a smaller crystal inside, and then you just attach it to any of your necklaces and you can wear that. And so that will help hold the energy there. And another favorite way that I recommend is that you can hold your crystal in your left hand because it's your receiving side and ask for your intuitive messages to come through. So, in 4 intuitive languages, I teach to talk to your spirit guides 5 to 15 minutes a day. So during that time, hold it in your left hand, wear a crystal, and just ask your spirit guides for the answers. Ask your spirit guides to work with you through the crystal and to help your energy and the crystal's energy to open and expand your third eye. So those are my tips for crystals. And we've got some exciting things coming up. So right now we have opened up Aligned to people who feel that they really want to stay aligned and grow and raise their vibration. Aligned spiritual mentorship is not for beginners who are totally new to this world. So I just want to make sure that if you are a beginner, I have something for you. It's 4 intuitive languages. And if you're someone who still wants to know a bit more about their intuition and you're not new to it, but you don't feel like you fully grasped it, then check out 4 intuitive languages. It'll teach you how to clearly communicate with your spirit guides and understand your intuitive messages. If you're someone who's worked with me before through that program and you're not brand new at all this, and you feel like you're kind of struggling and you're not feeling that high of a vibration, or you feel like you're in a good place, but you can go higher, then I'd love to invite you to apply for Aligned Spiritual Mentorship. Aligned Spiritual Mentorship is a membership program that we have that I combine mentorship and we have new themes every month. I provide new things for you to learn. It is not a traditional course or program. It is based on community experience, and I provide consistent ways for you to increase your vibration, your intuition, and your alignment to your purpose. So I'm going to link to all that in the show notes. Thanks for listening. I'll be back next week with a brand new episode. But until then, here's to staying spiritual and ambitious. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. And if you loved it, would you please share it with a friend? I would also love your review and a reminder to subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can find me at messengerofspirit.com, and you can take the 4 intuitive languages quiz and find show notes there too. If you want to connect on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, you can find me at Messenger of Spirit. I'll meet you right here next week. Here's to staying spiritual and ambitious.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM. Women's voices amplified.